Morning to you all. I'm hoping that you're having a blessed day. Today, God's given me something a little different. I'm hoping that you all get some encouragement out of it today. I was recently watching the movie I Can Only Imagine 2. If you've not seen it, it is a really good movie. But I was reminded of the story of the man who wrote It Is Well With My Soul. A lawyer named Horatio Spafford. In 1871, he lost his son to pneumonia, followed by losing his real estate investments and financial stability due to the Chicago fire. Then in 1873, he planned a family vacation to Europe, but he got held up by some business that he needed to complete. And then he sent his wife Anna and their 4 daughters ahead on the SS Villa du Havre. 12 minutes into the trip, the ship collided with another vessel and sank. Anna survived and sent a telegram saying, "Saved alone. What shall I do?" While sailing to meet his grieving wife, the captain informed Spafford that they were passing over the place the ship went down. At that time, Spafford wrote, "When peace, like a river, attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well, it is well with my soul." I'm reminded of the story of the Shunammite, and that's where we're going to be looking at in 2 Kings, in chapter 4. Those words, "it is well," was used here. Now, can you imagine losing your children and going over the place and writing such a beautiful hymn? Over here in 2 Kings chapter 4, we read, of course, what happens here with the Shunammite is that Elijah keeps coming by her house and staying there. And starting at verse 10, it says, she tells her husband, she says, "Let us make a little chamber, I pray thee, on the wall, and let us set for him there a bed, a table, and a stool, and a candlestick, and it shall be when he cometh to us that he shall turn in thither." And it fell on a day that he came thither, and he turned into the chamber and lay there. And he said to Gehazi his servant, "Call this Shunammite." And when he called her, she stood before him. And he said unto him, "Say now unto her, Behold, thou hast been careful for us with all this care. What is it to be done for thee? Wouldst thou be spoken for to the king or to the captain of the host?" And she answered, "I dwell among mine own people." And he said, "What then is to be done for her?" And Gehazi answered, "Verily she hath no child, and her husband is old." And he said, "Call her." And when he had called her, she stood in the door. And he said, "About this season, according to the time of life, thou shalt embrace a son." And she said, "Nay, my lord, thou man of God, do not lie unto thine handmaid." And the woman conceived and bare a son at that season. And Elisha had said unto her, according to the time of life. And when the child was grown, it fell on a day that he went out to his father to the reapers. And he said unto his father, "My head, my head." And he said to a lad, "Carry him to his mother." And when he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees till noon, and then he died. And she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of God, and shut the door upon him, and went out. And she called unto her husband, and said, "Send me, I pray thee, one of the young men, and one of the asses, that I may run to the man of God, and come again." And he said, "Wherefore wilt thou go to him today? it is neither new moon nor Sabbath. And she said, It shall be well. And then she saddled an ass, and said unto her servant, Drive and go forward, slack not thy riding for me, except I bid thee. So she went and came unto the man of God to Mount Carmel. And it came to pass, when the man of God saw her afar off, that he said to Gehazi his servant, Behold, yonder is that Shunammite. Run now, I pray thee, to meet her, and say unto her, Is it well with thee? Is it well with thy husband? Is it well with the child? And she answered, It is well. And when she came to the man of God to the hill, she caught him by the feet, and Gehazi came near and thrust her away. And the man of God said, Let her alone, for her soul is vexed within her. And the Lord hath hid it from me, and hath not told me. Then she said, Did I desire a son of my Lord? Did I not say, Do not deceive me? Then he said to Gehazi, Gird up thy loins, and take my staff in thine hand, and go thy way. If thou meet any man, salute him not. And if any salute thee, answer him not again. And lay thy staff upon the face of thy child. And the mother of the child said, As the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And he arose and followed her. And Gehazi passed on before them, and laid the staff upon the face of the child. But there was neither voice nor hearing. Wherefore he went again to meet him, and told him, saying, The child is not awaked. And when Elisha was come into the house, behold, the child was dead, and laid upon his bed. He went in therefore, and shut the door upon them twain, and prayed unto the Lord. And he went up, and lay upon the child, and put his mouth upon his mouth, and his eyes upon his eyes, and his hands upon his hands. And he stretched himself upon the child, and the flesh of the child waxed warm. Then he returned and walked in the house to and fro, and went up and stretched himself upon him. And the child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes. And he called Gehazi and said, Call this Shunammite. So he called her, and she and when she was come in unto him, he said, Take up thy son. Then she went in and fell at his feet, and bowed herself to the ground, and took up her son, and went out. You see how God shows up? Isn't it amazing how God shows up whenever we need him? This woman, her son got revived. To the lawyer, it didn't happen. But God did the same thing. He carried him through. You see, what's the difference between them and us? Well, is God different? No, God's not. God's the same yesterday, today, and forever. He's not changing. What about his promises? Well, he's not slack concerning his promises. See, the thing is that we get into this sadness, and we forget that who we are. We forget that the gifts of God. One of the gifts of God is joy. The thing is that joy, happiness is something that is, and it's in motion. Joy is something that's deep within. Deep within. And it only comes from God. It is a fruit of the Spirit, which means when we're saved and when we have the Spirit within us, we have that joy within us. It says, sadness endureth for a night, but joy comes in the morning. It's not God's will for us to just keep on being sad and go through this life sad. He gave us the gift of joy. Even Elijah went through a sadness, a deep depression, where he wanted God to take his life because he felt alone. He asked God to take his life. You can read it in 1 Kings under the juniper tree. But God took his hand and delivered him out of it. We go through things, and we get into a deep depression. But we have access to the joy. Joy of the Lord is our strength. It is found in the Spirit. of God. Joy, like I said, it is one of the fruits of the Spirit, which means we have access to that joy. When we get sad, when we get down, if we lose somebody, or if it's a circumstance or whatever it is, we don't have to stay in that joy, that sadness. We don't have to stay in that depression. We don't have to stay in that anger. We don't have to stay bound up by this flesh. Whatever emotion is binding you up, we don't have to stay in it. We don't have to take it no more. Sadness endureth for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. Think about the joy of the Lord. Think about what that means. Think about what people have access with the joy. Think about the 3 Hebrew children whenever they were going into the fiery furnace. They faced certain death, and they were praising God even going into the furnace. Think about Paul and Silas when they were in the prison and they were singing hymns. It didn't matter that they were beat. They didn't expect to be delivered. And the prison bar at midnight, the chains were loosed and the prisons were open. I'm telling you that joy within us can change things. I'm not talking about, well, you're in a pity party. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about grabbing a hold of the hand of God and saying, okay, God, help me get out of this situation. Give me the joy that you've given me. Let me have access to it. Let me feel that joy again. Let me experience your love and your joy and get out of this depression, get out of this anger, get out of this stuff that's binding me up. These emotions that's binding me up, let me have that strength back. We don't need to be bound up by the things of this world, the stresses of this world, the anger. I have started thinking differently about stuff. Anger and worrying. What's it going to solve? What does it solve? Doesn't solve anything. Are you going to be able to fix the problem? No, you can't fix the problem. But God can. But in sadness and depression, only God can fix it. God has given that access to us, the joy. We just got to grab a hold of his hand and let him wrap his loving arms around us. We don't have to be depressed. We don't have to go through this life miserable. If we're Christians and we have just hope in this life only, we are men most miserable. That's what Paul says in the Bible. But we have a promise on the other side. Remember, the promise of heaven is ours. We win in the end. This life is just a vapor. Whatever we go through, it's going to be over. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord shall deliver him out of them all. Everything you go through, God is going to be there for you. Being able to say it is well is trusting in God. Is having that relationship with God, to be able to know that God is going to deliver you out of them all and out of everything. Being able to know that God's not slack concerning his promises, that God's promises are there. He cannot lie, and you have access to it. Knowing that he is there to comfort you. He sent the comforter, the spirit of his spirit. Knowing that he cares and he loves you and he cares about the stuff you go through and how you feel. He's there to wrap his loving arms around you. He's there to carry you through. Let's rely on God. Fully rely on God. Stop trying to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. Jesus even said, my burden is light, which means he wants to carry it. Quit trying to carry it yourself, because the only thing you're going to do is weigh yourself down unnecessarily. It is not yours to carry. It never was. That's hard for us as in this flesh to really, truly grasp that. But we have to get in the habit of saying, God, take this from me. I don't want to carry it no more. I don't want this stuff to go with me anymore everywhere I go. I want your love. I want your peace. And I want your joy. I want that joy to bubble up inside of me, because that's something just amazing. The joy of the Lord is where is our strength. Is our strength. It is more than just happiness. Happiness is great, but joy is even greater. Joy is really deep within. And because it's a fruit of the Spirit, nothing can steal it. We have a habit of saying, this stole my joy. It's not stolen. You've just allowed something to hinder it. Let God be God in your life. And let go of the things that's bothering you. Give it to God, because He wants it. Remember, I love you, God loves you, and I'm praying for you.